Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. If you could take your seats, that would be great. Get a beverage, get some snacks. Welcome, one and all, to the 2022 DSPNA end of year meeting. We are so glad to see everyone. I see a lot of new faces and a lot of familiar faces. My name is Ellen Evans. I'm the board president of DSPNA. So we've got a great program today, and we're also making an effort to keep the program brief.
Yay.
So if all goes well, it'll be less than 75 minutes, just so you know. I want to thank John Mark for organizing this meeting and for the engagement team for helping everything come together. And before I start, I want to make note of some guests we have here with us today. I kind of shouted out about it before, but we have Richard Marath, the State Farm agent, to answer any insurance questions that you might have, because I know we all lost or are losing our insurance, our normal insurance that we had up to now. So there'll be time afterwards to talk to him about insuring your hillside property. We have David Turciano and his colleague Austin from LA Solar Group here to answer questions you might have about solar and battery backup. We're also supposed to have our patrol officers, but I don't see them. When they come in, I will introduce them. Thanks for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. I just want to remind everyone that motions can be made, seconded, and voted on by members of DSPNA. Members should have colored red name tags. Blue name tags. I'm wrong. If you need a blue name tag. If you're not a member, there's a handy QR code on the back of the agenda that you can use to join. There it is. So our first order of business is to go ahead and approve the agenda. So I need a motion to approve today's agenda. Moved by Lynn. I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Vadim. Is there any discussion on the agenda? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Any abstaining? Okay, that's great. Second order of business is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. There were a few copies out on the table, and they were previously distributed with the newsletter. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, please?
So moved.
I see Hollis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Sita. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, that's great. So now we get to move on to my report, and I'm going to keep it super brief. Yay. I want to talk about three things: our billboard fight, membership, and patrol. First of all, we seem to have dived head first into this billboard fight. So does anyone not know what I'm talking about? Okay, so there's a proposal to put a 14,000 square foot digital moving billboard on a building that would be where the Hornburg Jaguar building is. And that is huge. I don't know if you know the Reef downtown, but it's like the same size as one side of the Reef. So it's massive, and it's going to light up our whole neighborhood. I don't think we're really okay with moving sign, with huge moving digital billboards shining light into our homes, disrupting our sleep and harming wildlife, and also generally making our trips home and our views out our windows extremely agitating. So we've made our biggest investment to date in an expert report on the impacts that the Hornburg Jaguar billboard will have on wildlife and humans. So I want to say thanks so much to everybody who helped fund this effort. This will help with action on all north-facing billboards on Sunset, those that are currently proposed, as well as those that may not yet have been proposed. And this is a Herculean effort that we are pursuing both legally and politically. And we need everybody to be giving feedback to West Hollywood on this. Because if they get approved and installed, they will not go away. And they will be part of the degradation of quality of life in the hills. So we need to put in our very best effort. If you have not yet written a letter, and I know very many of you have, you can visit our action page by going to tiny.cc/billboards. And you can, and if you go there, you'll be able to learn about the situation and customize a letter that will get sent to appropriate West Hollywood officials. There will be more news on this and more calls for action on the same topic as the project moves through the process. So please stay engaged and keep paying attention. On membership, the reason why we're able to participate in this billboard fight, beyond the generous donations that came from individuals on this, is that we have built up a healthy reserve, again, from generous neighbors such as yourselves. And part of the reason why this reserve exists is that for a couple of years, we didn't really do a good job of spending money. So we had to learn how we wanted to deploy our revenue, and now we really know. We really, really know. So it's more important than ever that we grow our membership. We have a couple of hundred members, and we are the only collective force dedicated to the safety, security, and serenity of the neighborhood. I know I've said this before, but we are the standing army protecting the neighborhood, the keepers of institutional knowledge about how to get things done. So we definitely need more widespread support. Membership is only $100 a year, and once again, the engagement team will get the message out, but we do need your help to make sure that our membership base grows significantly so that we can meet the challenges that come down the pipe. If we want to take meaningful collective action, growth is imperative. Final topic, patrol. Let's talk about patrol. Everybody wants a quick responses to safety concerns, as well as a presence that acts as a deterrent. Patrol solves problems almost daily, and the service they provide is invaluable. Our costs, however, are really going up a lot. It's no secret that there's a lot of inflation. So we started out in June 2020, paying approximately $30 an hour, and we expect that next year we may be paying close to $40 an hour or possibly more. So we have 270 households participating. Unless we grow and grow quickly, we have two bad options. One, we can raise the price of patrol, or two, we can cut back the hours. And we obviously don't want to do either of those things. If you aren't participating in patrol, please consider signing up. Patrol is an asset to the neighborhood, an asset that we all need to safeguard. And there's another QR code on the back of your agenda that will allow you to sign up for patrol. If you're a member of patrol, please try to get more people to sign up. We can do mailing after mailing to residents in the area, and we will, but nothing as good as a conversation with a neighbor. If our officers do come, you can talk to them about what they do to make our neighborhood safer, and then tell your friends and neighbors what you've learned. If you need to learn more about how to pitch patrol, we can schedule a meeting to do that. And now that's it. So I'm going to keep talking for a little while. We have the next order of business, which is our board elections. I want to thank all of our board members who each work hard to make sure our neighborhood is the best it can be. I'm going to recognize first board members who are not up for election, each of whom makes a very meaningful contribution. Carter Brownman, who came here even though it was his birthday. Committee, Hollis Brown, who is very active in the engagement team. James Murray, who takes care of a lot of our financial stuff, who can't be here. Lynn Roth, who is active in very many things, especially enforcement, and Lisa Tornaden, who runs the engagement. So the slate we're offering is of returning board members. A number of them can't be here today, so I'll just basically explain who they are and what they do. Stella Gray does everything related to building permits and Department of Transportation. Mitchell Guzik handles issues and provides a connection to residents in the Upper Sunset Plaza area. Sherry Taylor handles our IT and website stuff, and Lance Williams is on the engagement team and also organizes events. And I'll let the other two who are here introduce themselves. Aaron, this is your moment.
I'll try to keep it brief as well. My name is Aaron. I've lived on Kings Road since 2003. Seeing the changes over 20 years in our neighborhood really prompted me to become a deeper part of DSPNA. I've been on the security committee, the engagement committee, and I would love to serve another year because I have a 2-year-old now, and I started to think, well, what are the next 20 years going to be like for her to grow up here? And I just wanted to do my part to make sure she has a great time here.
Do you want to speak from there loudly or come up here? Okay. Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Vadim Levitman. I lived in the neighborhood over here for over 10 years. For past 4 years, I've been a board member. I served as a treasurer. I dealt with all of the security issues in the neighborhood. Have a direct contact with our senior lead officers. We have a Brett Cohn over here, with the neighborhood prosecutors, with the private security team. So anything that involves finances and security matters, that's me.
So that's our slate right now, so I need a motion to approve the slate.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, I got Lisa and second. Lynn. And is there any discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so congratulations, everyone. You get not just 1, but 2 more years. So now I have an introduction to make. We've been working with Ethan Reamer on party houses and other nuisance activity since he started as a neighborhood prosecutor 4 years ago. I look back at my email and it was 4 years ago. He's pursued action in a number of problem locations in our neighborhood and brought relief to many neighbors. He's been an amazing partner, and now we'll be getting a new amazing partner because Ethan has been promoted from Hollywood Station neighborhood prosecutor to neighborhood prosecutor of all of West Bureau, which covers about 1/5 of the city. So we want to take this opportunity to note that this is a very well-deserved promotion and to say thank you to Ethan for all he's done for the neighborhood. We have a small token of our appreciation. Now, Ethan, you have a couple of minutes to introduce your successor and say a few words. And then we'll have a couple minutes for Q&A.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Can you guys all hear me all right?
Yeah.
I'm told I'm very loud. It is so wonderful to see you all. It's actually kind of emotional for me. Like Ellen said, I've been doing this job for 4 years now, and your community has been one of the most amazing communities to serve. You guys are so supportive of the work we do. You are so well organized. You are just everything you would want in a community. And I'm really gonna miss working with you guys. But the good news is, like Ellen said, I'm not going far. Hollywood Division is part of West Bureau. And so I'm still going to be around the city. And the other great thing about that is it means I've got a lot of time to train my replacement and my good friend, Anthony King. So welcome, Anthony King.
It's a pleasure to meet all of you. Ethan has told me quite so much about this, and I'm really excited to be starting to work with all of you. I live about a mile away, and I have so for about 16 years now. And so I think a lot of our concerns are the same concerns that I have. And so I'm looking forward that over the next years to being able to address all of that.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I've already, Anthony doesn't officially start for another 2 weeks, but I've already started getting him up to speed on the issues your neighborhood's facing. In fact, an issue in your neighborhood was his very first meeting as the interim neighbor or the new incoming neighborhood prosecutor. So we'll make sure he's really caught up to speed and you guys have the same level of service, actually better service than you have right now. And the last thing I want to say is, I would not have been, I've prosecuted more party houses and shut down more party houses and nuisance properties in your neighborhood than any other neighborhood in the city. And there's one reason for that, and it's Ellen Evans. If you think Ellen runs a tight ship in these meetings, you need to see the emails she sends me. There are spreadsheets, there's Dropboxes. Ellen's advocacy for your neighborhood is absolutely tireless. And when no one else is looking, it is still happening behind the scenes. And it allows myself, LAPD, every other city agency to do its job to the fullest because Ellen's doing the work and holding us accountable. Because there's a lot of people I don't want to be mad at me. Ellen's top of that list. So thank you all so much. I'm not going far. I'll still be around, but I just want to say thank you all for everything for the last 4 years.
Q&A?
Yeah, of course. Questions?
Anyone? Wow.
Okay. Great. Well, you know where to find me when you need me. So,
Great.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Wow, we're gonna hit our briefest goals. I can't believe it. Okay, as you may know, difficult circumstances have taken Senior Lead Officer Sanchez off the job temporarily. So all of our acting Senior Lead Officers have been really good, but nobody has really been as responsive and has attacked our issues with the gusto that our new acting Senior Lead Officer, Brent Cohen, has. But if you've interacted with him at all, you already know this. So I think this is the first DSPNA meeting we've had the pleasure of welcoming him to. So please welcome him, and also Sergeant Chad Costello, who I think is on his day off, but is here anyway, has come as well. So we'll be
Good. Hey everybody, thank you so much for having me. When they told me I was going to be filling in for Ralph again, that's always a little scary because those are big shoes to fill. He's been up here a very long time and I'm always a little weary, but being back has been fantastic, and seeing you all in person and not in a little box on a screen is even better. So I'm happy for that. Talking about some things facing the division as a whole and then the neighborhood. I'm happy to report for the first time in months that violent crime is down. That's fantastic. Robberies, which we all have seen all over the news, and Hollywood are down, so that's fantastic. And then the one issue is property crime. Property crime is still up, okay? And on our end of things, the things that are affecting your neighborhood the most, that's the issue, is property crime, okay? Burglaries from motor vehicles specifically, and home burglaries, residential burglaries, okay? The issues with these things are debatable, but one theme that I've been seeing a lot of is vacant properties within the neighborhood. There's a lot of unoccupied residences that are not being cared for, not being monitored, and we have folks moving in and squatting in these properties, okay? So I'm working closely with Ellen and identifying most of these, but if you have one in your neighborhood, please reach out to me because I'd like to monitor it a little closer, because we're seeing a direct correlation with folks moving in, squatters, and property crimes increasing in those areas, okay? So that's one thing we could do. One thing that you all do that you're already fantastic at is keeping an eye on things in the neighborhood. I don't think I've worked with a group who communicates better with one another and keeps an eye on one another than you all do. So thank you for that. There's been countless instances where you guys have reached out to me through email about something that just didn't seem right, and we end up picking up someone who's a very dangerous individual in your neighborhood. So that's fantastic work on your end, and I thank you for it. And with that, and the last thing, party houses, we're doing pretty good, I have to say. It's a serious issue. It's not over. We're not out of the woods. But we have seen from when I was here last in 2020 a decrease. That being said, there's a lot of work to be done. The one thing I need that's difficult at times is get through to that non-emergency number. When there's nuisance activity occurring in your neighborhood, pick up the phone, maybe work it out with a neighbor, because it could be 20, 30 minutes if you're lucky that you're on hold dealing with, that. But those calls are extremely valuable to me. Even if officers show up and, tell them, oh, turn the music down, and that's the only action they take, I'm able then to go pull their body worn video, see the level of nuisance activity that's occurring in that house, and use that as foundation for future enforcement on my end. So that the first time I get out there and write a citation, I might already have 4 previous instances of nuisance activity at that location, which I have documented, and then I could submit a report to the fantastic Ethan Weaver to take action against them, okay? So that is extremely valuable. I know it's a pain getting through on that number. In addition, if you're tired, you want to go to bed, you can't stay on any longer, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email so that I at least have some form of documentation of what occurred that night, okay? And then I'll pass it to Sarge. That's all I have.
I'm Chad Costello. I'm the sergeant in charge of all the senior lead officers here in Hollywood. So I manage the entire area. There's 10 senior lead officers. Actually, first thing I want to do is congratulate Brett, because he's no longer in acting. He's actually a senior lead officer. He recently got promoted. So eventually, when Ralph comes back, he'll be moving to the Hollywood Entertainment District on a footbeat basis. But also, I want to reiterate our partnership with Ellen and how important she is and the security patrol is to us doing our job, because we're struggling with personnel. Hollywood went from 370 cops down to less than 300 now. So that's a significant decrease. And most of that decrease is through the specialized units that would be responding to your guys' complaints and stuff like that. So in the past, when we had a party car detail and those type of things, those just aren't in place anymore. We can barely respond to the emergency calls for service. So we're struggling with that. So the support of the security patrol and the partnership with Brett really does help us to get our job and to target those things that are important to you guys. But you do live in one of the safest parts of LA, so just know that. And you guys have some great people and partnerships working to keep you guys safe. So we're always here to help support. Also out of our office, we have a volunteer program, which Brett's currently running. If anybody wants to learn more about the police department, how we operate, you want to volunteer your time, feel free to reach out to Brett. We also have our CPAB meetings every couple months. You can get well informed on what's going on in the police department and with the local politics and all that stuff too. It gives you a voice in that. So I encourage you guys to participate in that too if you have time. But other than that, you guys got a great team here in a great neighborhood. So thank you for having us.
Yes, it's 1-877 Ask LAPD. Nice and easy for us, yeah.
Do you give your business card?
I'll give you some, yeah, just come to me and we'll give it.
The staff shortage, is it budget or people just don't want to join the police force anymore?
Yeah, I mean.
So it's a combination. So they had the defund movement a couple years ago, which cut our budget down significantly. You lost a lot of the personnel during that. You got a lot of people retiring, and it takes time to hire behind that. Now that they've reallocated the budget, that the money's there, but we don't have the people. We can't hire the people. We can't hire the quality people we need. So it's going to take years for us to turn that around. So.
Well done, LA comes.
Anyone else?
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
So Heidi's not here, right? You don't see Heidi? We're gonna move along, and come back. So, I'll start again by saying we've always had good field deputies. But Mehmet has been in a totally different category, both in terms of qualifications and in terms of our experience. One thing that I love about working with him is he would never deliver a department's bad answer to a question or request as though that were the end of the story. He's always tried to help us move the ball forward, particularly with our ongoing work with DOT on traffic calming measures, but also on many other issues. And now Mehmet too has secured promotion. So he's now Senior Deputy for Transportation, Infrastructure, and Public Space in our council member's office. We wanted to say thank you and congratulations and to present you with a small token of our appreciation for your amazing service before you introduce George, our new field deputy, who we're very much looking forward to working with.
No, I'm still around, but, oh, okay, Ethan got it back too. Cool. Wow, thank you. Oh my. Wow, okay. Hi, everybody. Put that down for a second. No, I think I'm good. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Ellen. That's really kind and really sweet. Well, similar to, I think, everybody else's words so far, working with you guys is really, I don't want to say the work is easy, but it's helped a lot by your organization and how well you guys communicate with each other so that can be communicated up to us. And it really helps us do our work. And it's also been kind of a pleasure getting to know this area and to work with you all. So just a few things coming up. So our office has, a couple people have gone to other offices. We've reorganized a little bit. So I'm moving into that senior deputy role, like Ellen said. But that means I'll still be around for questions regarding transportation, infrastructure, and open space stuff. At a certain level, it'll come up to me, and I'll be working on policy in those realms as well. So if there are citywide issues that you have concerns with when it comes to those kind of questions, I can also be a conduit for that. And in general, doors never close. If it's something that it makes more sense for George to handle now in his role coming in as field deputy, I would just send you off to him. City council, just a few logistics for folks tied in with those internal office changes. New council members are sworn in on the 12th. There's one day of council session on the 13th, and then council recess from the 14th to the 6th. Obviously doesn't mean no work is getting done, but council won't be meeting. But just so you know about those changes. Other than that, in our office, while I'm assuming this role, our planning deputy, Meg Healy, also was promoted to a senior deputy for housing issues. So she's going to be working a lot with our affordable housing partners and otherwise. So if you have questions related to kind of housing issues citywide, she's a good person to go to in our office for that. And beyond that, I would say that the next introduction will be of George, who is your incoming field deputy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, everything that since my transition here, everyone has said the same thing about Mehmet. He's such a high caliber field deputy, and he's still with us, and I'll still be able to learn from him. So it's really a privilege and an honor to be working alongside him. With that being said, I've been here in Councilmember Roman's office for about 1.5 years, so I'm not new to the area, speaking generally, but I am new to this area. And what I hope to gain in the first few months, the end of the year, is to get to know all of you, the specific issues that you all have, the experience that you all bring, because I'm generally speaking pretty new to the area. So, with that being said, I'm very much looking forward to our partnership. Brett, look forward to working with you and resolving party houses issues. And so, just really, I have business cards with me. So if you want to come up to me and say, hey, I like the business card, happy to share those as well. So.
And then we'll also be leaving these out for folks.
Yeah, this is a holiday food drive that our office is organizing. We're planning to do 2, one in Silver Lake Community Church and the other one in the Valley area at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Studio City. So, if you have more questions, you can refer to this flyer. Ryan Hari is one of the field deputies who's taking the lead on it, but you can talk to me as well. We're all in constant communication with one another.
Yeah, and it'll be December 16th. So they're both kind of going to be drive-through deals. So you can just drive through and drop stuff off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's it for now. I'll also leave cards with George by the bar, probably. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, good. Sounds good.
Questions? Anyone?
Oh, yeah.
Art?
Yes, I don't know what field deputies do.
Oh,
That's a great question. Yeah, no.
Solid question.
Yeah. Well, we're the conduit for a lot of city departments. So, if it's related to building issues from sanitation, sometimes, the trucks come in and disturb the peace of the neighborhood. We like to communicate with LA Sanitation. That also applies to a lot of building and safety. We're in contact with a lot of inspectors in the area. If there's a vacant building, if there's a nuisance with a certain construction project, we'll be your point of contacts for that as well.
There's
Street signs.
Yes, street signs,
Lights.
street lights. There's also, a point about building and safety is there's some things that building and safety won't even look into unless we've come and we've said, no, this is important enough. So
Yeah.
I would say that it's always good practice to let us know if you filed something or if you need help filing something through one of the channels of advocating. So, yeah.
Do you have anything to do with roads? We've been trying to get our part of the boulevard fixed since before I was born.
Yeah. Well, that's still in my purview. There's the resurfacing schedule, although with Hollywood, you have concrete, you're the concrete panel deal. So just talk to me about, because with
They're supposed to do it pre-COVID. That's what we were told.
Okay,
Now it's gonna happen.
I've heard that as well. And when this was months ago, I think when I remember asking, I think it was something that they move their schedule around all the time. It's just like a constantly shifting chessboard, and just the best thing for me to know are the bounds of the specific request so I can go back and ask them. If something's been moved off of a fiscal year, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll come back the next fiscal year. It might be a future thing. So our job is to then advocate for it to come back. And then if it's a concrete street, it's kind of this other layer of, there's a concrete panel replacement program, right? Because you can either replace the panel of concrete or you can overlay everything with asphalt, which, it's kind of like flooring for your house. You could overlay the thing with carpet. Do you want to? Is it better to just fix the underlying stuff, but it's more expensive? So they do these specific panels where it's really bad. So that's kind of.
Well, I don't want to take everybody's time. I thought you probably.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Our street's a disgrace.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The guy from India told me felt like it was a third world country.
Hey.
One more?
What about the street that is actually a public street, but its zone is private, and we need to rezone it because people cannot even come and ticket it, and this absolutely disorganized.
We can talk offline, but that would be another thing that your field deputy could start with. And if it raised to a certain level, I could get involved, but that's going to be planning and lots of different agencies actually.
Yeah.
So
What are the counts?
Yeah, please.
Just a quick one, are you responding to the draft wildlife ordinance? Is that you personally?
I'm going to stay involved on that. So if you have wildlife questions, feel free and send them to me. I've been the conduit for our office to collate things, and I work with Michelle, our planning deputy, on that. So, and as everyone knows, there's CPC is on Thursday. It was rescheduled from the last time, so. Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. We got the photo op with you.
So I just want to say that Heidi Feldstein Soto is one of the hardest working people I know. And I know this because many years ago, I was in a very politically charged book group with Heidi. Heidi, myself, and my wife were the only people representing our fairly liberal political viewpoint. And often we really desperately wanted her participation, but she couldn't take the time to do it because she was so committed to her clients. Now, as luck would have it, we are, in a sense, her clients. So I know Heidi is going to bring a cut through the BS approach to the city attorney's office, and luckily we get to hear directly from her about some plans. We're probably going to focus mostly on questions today. I just want to say congratulations on your landslide victory.
Thank you. And it is the case that in the book club, when I was there, it was Laura, Ellen, and me against the rest of the room, but what the heck. I'm Heidi Feldstein-Silka, for those of you I haven't met. And as of today, I can officially say that I am your new city attorney-elect. The results were certified today, and I think I won by a little bit over 10 points. And I've been in the office and working off and on for the last 2 weeks since it became apparent that mathematically I was likely to be the city attorney. I have walked into the office, as I promised I would on the campaign trail, relatively softly, trying not to suck the oxygen out of the room, trying to get my bearings and learn what I'm doing. And for the time being, I'm not making major changes in leadership or in the office. I will have a new communications director, and I will have a new intergovernmental relations officer, but the rest of the senior leadership in the office right now is staying put. I feel a little bit like our mayor-elect Karen Bass, who has said, you know, the transition period is so short and the city is vast. However big I thought this job was, let me assure you, it's bigger. And it took me 2 weeks of dancing dizzy, as Russian ballerinas like to say, before I got my footing well enough to look at myself in the mirror on Thursday and for the first time say, all right, my reach did not exceed my grasp. I can do this job. I really can. But it's gonna take a little bit of space and a little bit of grace from everybody involved, since I have never worked in government before. And it is an art form. People say to me, what, if anything, did you learn on the campaign trail? So for any budding politicians who may be here, here's what I'll tell you. I acquired 2 skills, one of which I value very much, one of which I despise. The skill that I value is I've developed a lobster skin. I don't care what people say anymore. Because people who've never met me, who've never spoken to me, who don't know the first thing about me, take my name and put it in their mouth where it doesn't belong and make stories up about me. And so at some level, you get to the point where that doesn't matter anymore. And that's a skill that I value. Here's the skill that I don't value. I'm taking questions tonight and I will give you fulsome answers because this is a group where I feel safe, where if you ask me questions, you actually want to know the answers. The problem on the campaign trail is people don't want to know the answers. People don't care what you think. They want to catch you, okay? They want a soundbite that they can clip and they can put on TV or that they can put in the press to sell a story and create controversy. And so like most politicians in public settings, when I'm asked a question in that sort of a forum, my answer now is, thank you for the question, like every politician in the world, and then I pivot to talking points, okay? I'm not gonna do that here tonight. I'm anxious to take your questions. Please understand that I'm not going to be making any major announcements about my plans in the office, especially not with 2 of my future employees here. That would not be the appropriate way to communicate. But I'm happy to take questions in general or take any specific thoughts that you have. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm deeply grateful to everybody who helped along the way, to everyone who endorsed me, to everyone who knocked on doors and volunteered, to everyone who donated, to everyone who voted for me. I wouldn't be here but for the people of the city of Los Angeles, and I'm anxious to get to work for the people of Los Angeles. So with that, questions? Yes, ma'am.
How do you interact with Gaston?
How do I interact with George Gaston? He's Cuban, I'm Puerto Rican, we're from the same part of the world, we both speak Spanish. I had a lunch scheduled with him and he was sick this week. I saw him this morning. It was the swearing in of Supervisor Solis and Supervisor Lindsay Horvath. And so my conversation so far with GA Gaston, and I've also had conversations with U.S. Attorney Martinez Zarada and with AG Rob Bonta. We really need to have law enforcement be consistent, support good policing, have consequences for people who break the law, or if we're not, and that consequences don't always mean incarceration, okay? But there has to be accountability. We can't have a mindset where you can shoplift whatever you want as long as it isn't worth $950 and it's all okay. That's, how many people in this room want to live in that society? Okay, because I don't. So yes, I will be either enforcing the law, which could include diversion, which could include assistance or training or whatever it is, but I will be enforcing the law. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You are certified today. Does it mean that you are stepping into power today, or when
No.
is your birthday?
No, it means that I am declared the winner.
Yes.
So I'm officially the next city attorney, but the
January 3rd.
term of my cure does not end until midnight on Sunday.
Oh, this coming.
Yeah, I will be sworn in before then, so that there is no gap in the office, and my term will start immediately upon the termination of his term.
Okay, thanks.
Sure, yes.
Do you have visions for what the first glimmer of light will be in your success of making that turn around the corner? Like, what is the thing to be watching for?
Well, I had a bunch of priorities on the campaign trail, and I'm happy to take them one at a time because I intend to fulfill my promises. Okay, so let's start there. I think it is the job of every city attorney and every elected official in the city of Los Angeles to focus on homelessness, homelessness, homelessness. We cannot continue this practice of turning our parks, our streets, our beaches into open air insane asylums, open air drug dens, or consigning people who are just poor, okay, to being preyed upon on our streets, because that's what happens. And hamstringing our law enforcement from going in after the predators because of homeless advocacy that you can't go in and disturb people in place. There's serious predators on our streets, and we need to deal with all of that. I think that the lead on how we approach homelessness will belong to Madam Mayor, not to me, at least in the first 100 days. But I pledge to support her. I have ideas on how to do that. And I think that both she and I bring to this a real sense of mission, that we have got to fix this problem, and we have got to do it in a way that produces visible, tangible results quickly, okay? If you all don't see visible improvement, moving people indoors, both of our tenures are going to be subject to criticism, and the honeymoon period isn't going to be long enough. So that's success number one. When you see cleaner streets and more people housed, that will be the first test. From my perspective, there's a lot of silly little things. Okay, my office apparently in some cases takes 9 months or longer to make a charging decision. Law enforcement does its job, sends over a file, and it gets lost in the labyrinth of the city attorney's office. That's not going to last very long, okay? We will have accountability. And a police report is 2 pages long. It doesn't take 9 months, okay, to make a charging decision or to make a decision as to what needs further investigation. I have a real mission to fill positions. We have over 100 vacancies in the office. We have at least 3 hotspots where my lawyers can't keep working the way they're working, okay? They're working all the time for you. And the 3 biggest issues I have, and one might surprise you, is the LADWP, okay, which has its own money. But I have 8 vacancies out of 40 lawyers. And that is currently my only female manager of a group, only general counsel. That's not setting her up for success. So that's a hotspot. The police litigation unit is dying, okay? The whole movement about defund the police seems to have also infected my office. And our litigators can't keep going trial after trial after trial without help. So it's very important to me to make sure that we hire more lawyers to do the job, because we will do a better job if we have lawyers who are handling the right number of cases and not doing back-to-back trials. And the third place is employment litigation. There's an explosion of employment litigation all over the city, and I don't have enough lawyers there. Now, there's a lot of other vacancies, but those are 3 triage issues in the office. And if you happen to know lawyers looking for a job in those areas, please send them our way. And so that will be a success. How quickly can we come up to speed on some of those things? Those of you who've heard me speak before will know that domestic violence is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. 40% of the women on our streets are there because of domestic violence. 75% of the kids on our streets are there because of domestic violence. And so finding pathways to safety for our most vulnerable people who, and by the way, when I say kids, it isn't necessarily just beating. I mean, you have a lot of non-binary or trans youth kicked out by their parents, literally at a young age. You have a lot of foster youth that either can't find a foster home or who've aged out of the system. And we are not, as a society, taking care of those kids in the right way before they wind up on the streets. And the longer they're on the streets, the harder it's going to be to get them back into a productive life. And so I have a real mission to bring stability, a pathway to security, diverting folks into apprenticeship programs with our unions as part of criminal justice, dealing with the fallout from domestic violence in a way that provides safe ground and a safe space for the survivors. Yes?
Hi, Ivy. So a lot of the things that this neighborhood association experiences are land use development struggles.
Really, Jamie?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So, I mean, so, you know, as Ellen can attest, we've appeared before the Board of Building and Safety Commissioners, you know, dozens of times, gone to the Area Planning Commission, the City Council. 99.9% of the appeals are denied. There's no, and the city attorneys, the deputy city attorneys on the, like, for example, at BBSC, I've heard them literally give wrong advice to the commission saying, oh, you don't have to think about CEQA. That's not within your purview. You're only supposed to think about the haul route. So I guess so yes, we're angry. And I feel like the decks are stacked against residents, and that the land use deputy city attorneys are there to protect their client, who is the body. And I just feel that there needs to be a little more independence when it comes to offering advice to those decision makers. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
Jamie, how many years have you known me?
Several.
Okay, look me in the eye and tell me I'm not gonna put residents' concerns first.
Oh, I know you will. I will say, I first met Ivy years ago when she was on this, you know, this, I mean, amazing effort trying to protect residents against state legislation, which was completely ridiculous. So I know you will. My question is, you started off saying that you're here and you're like walking into this giant system. How are you going to like to tell your staff that you want them to be a little bit more, you know, resident oriented?
I think that the message is already arriving. I have had a couple of retirements, including one relatively senior person in housing. I have asked for memos on my desk about some of the advice that has been given by the office that from the outside I disagree with, but I am not prepared to pillory anybody or say it's wrong without the benefit of what the research has shown and without the benefit of understanding what the client wants. And I will tell you that the client is in the midst of changing as well. So whatever the current client may have wanted, as you know, there are many legal issues that are defensible, but not necessarily winners.
Or advisable.
I know, I'm being clear, I'm a lawyer, okay? I am an elected official, and I have an overriding duty to ensure that the decisions made are based on good data, are within the bounds of the law, and are in the best long-term interests of the city and all of its stakeholders. So I will do that part of the job. But at the end of the day, okay, if it's legally defensible and all legislative power under the city charter rests with council, I am a lawyer and I ran on that, you know that. So I think the piece of it that I want to make transparent, okay, is the piece of it where our city and its elected officials on the one hand say to residents, oh, look what we want, this is what we've done. And on the other hand, I have the sense that there are times that our office, either through inadvertence or by direction, is giving advice that means that is contrary to the policy expressed. That process will be more transparent. How's that?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Within the bounds of privilege.
Yeah.
One more?
Yeah, of course. I'm here as long as you guys want me, okay? Yes, ma'am.
I want to say congratulations and
Thank you.
I don't know if before we've had a city attorney run who has already shown an interest in the neighborhoods and the voters as opposed to in simply defending the city, and it's wonderful. And I sort of live in the same world, hi Jamie, as Jamie in land use law and zoning, and we see effectively that the people, the neighbor, it's a continuing process of cutting out our voices. Time after time, less and less time to speak, less and less influence, and to the point where I agree with Jamie that effectively we feel that the city attorney is against the citizens. And so how can we bring years and years of experience to help you in what you're about to go into so you can help us?
I don't know yet. No, I'm serious. I mean, I need to get to know my own office. And I do have a lot of respect for a whole bunch of the lawyers who were there. I will tell you that when I run into somebody where there's a difference in approach or a difference in opinion, I'm quite direct about it. I think that the folks in the office are not accustomed to that. And it's not hostile. I mean, but I need you to understand something. Working for the city in public service is something that all of us need to value more than we do. For lawyers, it is an enormous pay cut from what you could make in the private sector. For lawyers, it is an enormous amount of work, and you could say that's wonderful because it's great experience, and I would tend to agree with that. You know, we turn out trial lawyers. For lawyers, it is, and for all city employees, I'm gonna put out a fact that most of the people I speak to don't know. The state of California and the city of Los Angeles have elected not to pay into Social Security. Okay? That means that, no, there is no Social Security for city employees. There is no safety net, there is no retirement, there is no 401k. There is nothing but the city pension. So when taxpayers say, you know, we have a problem with this or we have a problem with that, I urge you to look at the facts. Because and I'm not talking about the electeds who jump from West Hollywood to Burbank to LA to the state and back, you know, and collect 6 different pensions. I don't care about the electeds. I'm talking about the people, okay? Men, women, non-binary, who work for the city every day for 10, 20, 30 years. And what they have for retirement is their city pensions. And so once you're in the system for a while, there's a little bit of a trap. And we are not adversarial to the residents. Sometimes it's just a question of communicating and understanding one another. And I do think that that will improve dramatically under my tenure. Because I am perfectly happy to go to war for the men, women, and non-binary folks who work for me, okay? And to explain my position. I'm not going to be pretty high-handed about it. I will at least sit down and talk and listen to residents and make sure that you all understand why we make the decisions we do.
Great, and thank you so much.
Thank you. If I leave my keys here, I'm in trouble.
We'll give you a ride.
You'll give me a ride? The best part about this job is I have a security detail. I can drink wine and not worry about it. You all have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I don't have any yet. I don't have any yet. Ellen knows how to reach me.
Yeah, I put contact information for people on our agenda, but I don't have your city attorney address, and I don't want to bother you for
And
it.
for anybody who
So-
wants to come, my swearing in is Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. this coming Sunday at the Firefighters Foundation site at 1700 Stadium Way near Dodger Stadium before Madam Mayor's. We coordinated. The only request I have is if you're gonna come, please somehow let me know through Ellen, so we get an accurate head count and don't run out of food.
Okay. Now we have our neighbor, Compass Real Estate Agent and DSPNA Patrol Evangelist, Andrew Roden, here to talk about market conditions.
I'm good. Talk about a tough act to follow. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you to the board. I am a real estate agent and neighbor. I live on Queens Road, and I'm actually with Carolwood now. I recently left Compass.
Louder.
He's with Carolwood.
Sorry, I looked at the Compass website.
All good, all good. So I just was asked to speak tonight. It's an honor to be together with my neighbors and just really grateful for all the work that you guys are doing. I was part of a meeting that Ellen put together a couple of weeks ago of real estate agents that are doing business in the neighborhood, trying to find other ways of getting engagement with the association, trying to get the association better well known amongst residents. As avid followers as this group is, there's a lot of people in our community that don't know about the association. So we are gonna fix that. I brought some statistics today to kind of summarize what's going on in our neighborhood. I think the biggest thing that has hit our neighborhood is ULA, which goes into effect April 1st. That will enact a tax on sales that are over $5 million of 5%, 4.25 over 5 and 5%, 5% over 5 million and 4.25 over 10. So as we lead up to April 1st, there's a lot of people who, if they need to sell anytime in the next 12 months, are making a move to do so and avoid that tax. They're doing so in a market where generally the overall LA market, Q3 2021 was $5.5 billion. Q3 2022 was 3.5. That's down 34%. In single family homes. Now in our neighborhood, we've still got sales that are happening. The last the Q3, we've had 15 transactions. And of those 15 transactions, 5 of the 15 sold within 14 days. And some pretty notable sales. On Cordell, there was a $70 million sale of a home that didn't even hit the market. It was under construction for a very long time, didn't even hit the market. And there were 4 other transactions that I've written down on these handy little sheets of paper. The current snapshot of our neighborhood is that we have 91 active listings. It was mentioned by the officer that vacant homes are targets for people that, you know, shouldn't be in those homes. So it's important to keep an eye on homes that you see a for sale sign or for lease sign, because those can be targets for people that need a warm place to stay. But there's 91 homes on the market. The average days on market for homes in this area is at 84 days. And we have 3 properties that are currently under contract or pending. So that's 3%, a little less than 3% of what's on the market. So far for quarter 4, we've got 18 properties that have sold. So as the inventory rate rises, there are people that are going to be more eager to sell for various reasons. I think it's, you know, as we were just talking about, like being vulnerable and trying to figure out what you need to do. We're in an environment where mortgage rates have doubled and you need to be strategic. So those sorts of things are what we deal with every day in the residential market. And I'm just glad to be part of the neighborhood. I'm not planning on selling anytime soon.
He's gonna give our finance report. Of 2 minutes.
2 minutes. As you all know, we are a nonprofit organization. As a nonprofit organization, that we are employing a different method of accounting called fund accounting. Fund accounting is a little bit different than normal accounting system that we would use for any kind of a business. Each fund represents a different project. Each fund could be construed as a restrictive or unrestricted. Restricted funds means that they're specifically designed for a specific project in mind, just like a security patrol. That is a restricted fund. DSPNA has right now over 30 different funds. It means that we have over 30 different bank accounts. To date, actually through November 30th, our total bank account balance is $317,000. Out of $317,000, $265,000 was restricted. For 11 months of this year, our revenue was $45,000. Our expenditures, however, was $50,000. The reason being, we had unexpected expenditures. One of them being license plate reader cameras. Second, that Alan alluded earlier, we had to fight for the billboards. So we set aside $25,000 for that specific project. Overall, board authorized us to dip into our reserves. That's why we are a little bit in the negative. Overall, our budget, we are totally within our budget. And we're extremely healthy to this day. We need more members to contribute so we can have spend more money on projects that will benefit all of us. Thank you.
So Jamie, so now we don't usually take much action, but we have an action item we'd like to bring before the membership right now. which is, the motion would be to oppose a proposed lot split for a parcel in the area on the grounds that it contains habitat for protected species. So I want Jamie to talk a little bit about what that is and why it's incredibly important.
All right, well, Heidi Feltzing, city attorney-elect, actually, I first met Heidi when she was opposing this bill called SB 50, which would have been a bill that would have allowed for, basically, it would have banned single-family zoning in California, and it would allow for duplexes anywhere. And she led a really valiant effort, I mean, remarkable effort, and that bill died, but it came back to life in the form of SB 9. And so that's what, and that bill passed just by a very little bit. It passed, but it was a compromise bill. And so the bill basically says that a developer can either, or owner of a parcel, they can split their lot into two, and they can put a duplex on each lot. So, and they can do it pretty much anywhere. But there are certain eligibility criteria. And you can imagine if the neighbor next door to you wanted to split their lot and put two duplexes on either one. You would probably not like that. So there are eligibility criteria, and one of them is that a project is ineligible for SB 9, the urban lot split, if it provides habitat for protected or sensitive species. That is in the bill itself. And so we've been sort of waiting for the first test case to come in the city of Los Angeles. And you actually got the test case in your neighborhood, unfortunately. It's 8875 Thrasher. And so the MRCA, the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority, owns a gigantic parcel next door to that. It's a 10-acre parcel. And so we have until December 23rd to offer comments about whether or not this parcel is eligible for the urban lot split. And we don't believe it is. So we've hired a biologist who has seen that there is a walnut grove on the site. The city does admit that walnut groves are considered sensitive by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So we have to commission that. We have to submit that by December 23rd. But in addition to that, we know that this parcel, there's many deer that frequent this particular parcel and the MRCA parcel. And deer are a telltale sign of habitat for another candidate species for protection, and that's the mountain lion. And that's true, and the city has admitted that in the Hollywood Community Plan. So we're going to be submitting DSPNA, which I've worked for years. We're going to be submitting, well, if you choose to vote, and I'm hoping that you do, but if you choose to support this motion, we will draft a letter to the city saying that we oppose this SB 9 urban lot split on the basis that it is not eligible because it contains habitat for sensitive species, the California, Southern California black walnut woodland, and the mountain lion, a candidate species for protection. So that's really the question, the motion on the floor. I guess someone needs to move that. There needs to be a second. But the question is whether or not you want to move to oppose this SB 9 urban lot split. And again, I would just remind you that this is not important only because of this particular project, but also because of the precedent that it's set. This is the first time this law is being tested, and it's being tested in your particular community. I'll turn it back to Ellen.
And I also want to say that Beth
Oh, yes.
is the one who's been safeguarding this lot and checking and documenting all the wildlife and hiring the biologists and just doing all sorts of great things. But DSPNA doesn't take a position without a decision. Usually it happens at the board level, but here we're doing it at the membership level. So I'm making the motion. Is there a second for the motion? And Lisa seconds it. Does anybody have questions for Jamie about this? Hollis?
Yes, is there a cost that we're looking at?
Not currently no, but there could be in the future. But first we want to just establish the policy.
2 duplexes, 4 units?
Right now, he just wants to do an urban lot split, just the lot split. But people don't split up their lots just for fun. You know, there's development is coming, guarantee you.
but it allows two duplexes. You can split your lot, then you can put two duplexes on each lot.
No, a duplex on each lot.
Yes. 4 units.
Yeah,
Four, yeah, but yeah.
correct.
And the only way to oppose this is through one of these.
The city has, I believe, 60 days. They sent this out for comments. We got the request for comments last month. We have until December 23rd to submit comments as to whether or not this parcel is eligible for the lot split. So that is the issue.
And eligibility is only with regard to something like this wildlife.
Yes, under SB9, there's only a certain things that we can raise. All other things are irrelevant.
But Beth has video of deer today on the lot. I personally see deer on the lot. Bradford?
Can there also be an ADU, or junior ADU put on it?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
So they can literally be three?
It's in
Three.
massive densification. Yes. So.
You can have,
yes,
you can have 4 units with 4 ADUs.
No, with an ADU on each lot plus a JADU. Junior ADU.
Four per lot.
I
The
know.
duplex plus the ADU plus the JADU.
6.
So 6 families can live.
And we're not talking about families of quail.
But this project is not eligible. So that's the point. It's not
I'm just
eligible.
trying to understand to remove single dwelling, we're entering in what could be a precedent that could change our neighborhood pretty dramatically.
Correct. I think the rest of Bradford, did you have a question?
That was my question.
Okay, never mind.
Aaron, do you have a question?
Just getting more understanding the law, does the law have to split equally?
No, no. There's a minimum requirement. You can actually decide how you want to split it. And so, no, it does not say that it has to be equal.
I have a question. Does every lot that is going to go through this division have to go through this impacted study, or?
Yes, the city will send it out for comments. We were lucky because Ellen and I are on the neighborhood council. We got notification of this, but every lot will go through this comment. So I guarantee you that some of the people are going to be asleep at the wheel and things are going to sneak through the cracks. That is going to happen.
Would the neighborhood council be commenting on this?
I hope so. We've invited the applicant to appear at the Planning and Land Use Committee, and as of today, I'm told that he is not happy about the request. Fran?
From my understanding, you're wanting a yes vote because this is precedent setting. It's not necessarily that any one of us know that particular parcel and want to stop development so much as you want to work on a precedent so that the wildlife will be considered when these lot splits come up.
Well, my personal viewpoint, and I can't speak for DSPNA, but this was a compromise bill, right? And so these environmental standards were part of the bill. So environmentally sensitive parcels are not eligible for SB9. And so all we're doing is making sure that that delicate compromise is respected.
And how environmentally sensitive is defined? It's not an ESA.
Sensitive species, that's what they use. Sensitive species as determined by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And it is without a doubt that walnut woodland groves are considered sensitive species, and the city has defined what a grove is and all that. I don't even go into all the details there, but there's no question that there are walnut trees on this site. They compromise a grove. This is what a senior conservation biologist with a PhD from UCLA has determined. So we are on absolute, strong legal ground here.
You're protecting.
The sanctity, I don't want to call it sanctity, but we want to make sure that this, gift to, whatever, this bill is only, urban lot splits only happen when when parcels are eligible.
Aside from the walnut groves, what other
major categories would fit into this?
It's really only two that I can see. It's the Walnut Grove and the Mountain Lion. Like I said, a lot of people have brought up other issues. I mean, by the way, there was a lot split that was requested in 2010. There was a lot line adjustment application that was approved and then denied by the APC based on the Hollywood Community Plan because of the steepness of the site and all of that stuff. So this developer apparently was upset that they had their lot line adjustment denied in 2010. And so they decided to avail themselves of SB9 to get a by right lot split, but the parcel's not eligible for it.
So you're saying follow the law.
Follow the law. That's
That
simple.
will help you. Here's the other.
The law's the law.
Okay, got it.
Any further discussion? Alice?
One other quick question, I think I know the answer, but listen to this. Specifically, mountain lion doesn't pertain to coyotes?
Only mountain lion.
Only mountain
Because
lion.
the coyotes are not a sensitive species. There's so there's particular lists, so that's only, yeah.
Right. Sensitivity traits.
Yes.
Lot split, does it have to be duplex? Could he split it and then put two single families?
No, you cannot put single families. So.
Say that again. That's good, yeah.
You know, actually, I'm gonna take that back. I don't know the answer to that. You could potentially do a lot split and then put two single family houses, and that actually might be the intent. Because it would be really irregular to have a duplex in that particular area. So, I take that back. You might be right.
So what position, if any, can or will the DSPNA take here?
Opposing the lot split.
Okay.
That's the motion. The motion is to oppose the lot split.
Yes.
I would second
Okay.
that.
Okay, so I think, I'm gonna call the question, because it seems like people are satisfied with the discussion. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes.
Good.
Okay.
And thank you, Beth.
Thank you, everyone. So,
I just want to say thank you to Beth again.
Yeah,
Beth
thank you
has
so much,
been doing a really good job. We appreciate it.
Okay, so, I think we're just about, we're on our time target. If anybody has a comment or question, we have time for maybe one or two, and then we'll adjourn. No comments or questions? Thanks, everybody, for coming. What?
You about the survey.
Oh, there's surveys around the room, and we would like to ask you to fill them out so we know how to make these meetings better for everybody. So thanks, everybody, for coming, and take this time to talk to our insurance representative and anybody else who's around. And you can leave the surveys where they are. After you fill them out. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, hi.
Hey, pleasure. We'll see you out there, or you'll see me out there. Yeah, that's great. Take care, man. Yeah, we'll see you every morning. Bye, guys. Tonka.
Wow, I used to play with those.
Really? I know, me too. Yeah, he still acts like one.
Really?
Yeah. So cool. All right, guys. Thank you. Yeah, drive safe.